The trail that wasn't there. Chapter 1. The quiet hunger. I used to hike alone. It wasn't out of arrogance, but something else. Some quiet hunger to be alone where the world was honest. No traffic, no phones. Just wind, birds, the occasional distant snap of a twig. But after what happened in Duskwillow Forest, I haven't set foot in the woods since. You've probably never heard of Duskwillow. It's one of those places that doesn't show up on any major trail apps or tourist sites. The locals, at least the ones who'll talk, treat it like a forgotten scar. They won't go near it. A forest with no cell service, no marked paths, and no good reason to exist. And I went in anyway. It started as a simple solo hike, a last-minute detour during a road trip. I was ahead on time and the forest looked inviting. Tall pines choked out the sun, but in a peaceful, quiet way. I saw an old wooden sign at the edge of the tree line. No name on it, just an arrow carved in pointing inward. Looking back, I should have noticed how off it felt, how the wind stopped the moment I stepped in. The first half hour was normal. Dirt path, scattered leaves, a squirrel or two, but then the trail split. Not in a Y or fork, but like the path had fractured, branching off into 3 tangled directions. No markers, no signs. I chose the center path. I don't know why. That's when things began to slip. First, the air grew heavy, not humid, but thick, like walking through invisible cobwebs. Then the forest got too quiet. No birds, no insects. Not even wind through the leaves. Then I found the first one. It looked like a tent, long abandoned. Mold climbing the canvas, a camp stove tipped on its side, rusted and full of leaves. The fire pit was cold, but there was no sign of whoever had used it. No footprints. No bags, nothing, just left behind. I kept going. I should have turned back, but I didn't. Maybe I wanted a story. Maybe I didn't want to feel afraid. Maybe that was the forest's trick, letting you think you were still in control. Chapter 2. The unwritten path. I passed another split in the trail. This time, the original path behind me was gone. I turned in a full circle and found 3 new trails instead, none leading back the way I came. The dirt beneath my boots was smooth, like no one had ever walked here before. Not even me. I marked a tree with my knife. Just a small notch in the bark, thinking I could use it as a breadcrumb. But when I passed by that same tree 20 minutes later, it had no mark, and it was the only tree that looked exactly the same. Tall, with 3 knots on its trunk like a crooked face. That's when I knew I wasn't lost. I was being led. Then came the whispers, not words. Not really, just the sense of a voice. Like when you almost catch a dream right after waking up, but it's gone. They grew louder the deeper I went. Not around me, inside me. Not thoughts. Not mine. I saw shapes. Half-formed figures between trees. Motion without source. Every time I turned my head, they vanished. But the trees seemed to lean in, closer every time I blinked, like they were listening too. Then I found the journal. It was buried under a pile of rocks, wrapped in wax cloth. Still dry, still intact. The handwriting was frantic, pages torn out. One sentence repeated over and over, "There is no trail." There never was. It makes you think there is. On the last page, scrawled in different ink, messier, more rushed. "Whatever you do, don't answer if it calls your name." Chapter 3. The expulsion. And then, it did. At first I thought I imagined it. But then it said my name again. Exactly how my father used to say it when I was a kid. When I was in trouble. Not the call itself, but the shame and fear of childhood washed through my bones. I ran. Not smart, I know, but it didn't matter. The forest changed behind me. The ground twisted. Roots rose where there had been dirt. The sky disappeared behind the branches. I tripped. I fell. I heard laughter. Not close, not far, just there. Like the trees were laughing through their leaves. And when I stood up, I was in front of the tent again. Only this time, the campfire was lit. I didn't light it. I stood there, frozen, until the smoke began to drift toward me, not up into the sky like normal smoke, but crawling low across the ground, twisting into a skeletal finger pointing directly at me. I backed away, but the fire didn't dim. It flared, and something moved inside the tent. The flap opened. There was no one inside, but I swear there should have been. The shape, the outline of a person, imprinted in the shadows against the fabric, still twitching faintly as if someone had just risen and stepped out. Only they hadn't. I ran again. This time I stopped when I saw a light, dim but real. A cold bluish lantern glow, and a figure, human. It was an old man in a ranger jacket, standing silently beside a tree. I ran to him, breathless, begging for help. He didn't move. He didn't blink. His eyes were glassy. His badge was decades old, and his voice, when he finally spoke, was not his. He said, "There's no trail." There never was, and then he blinked and was gone. Just not there anymore. Somehow, I got out. I don't remember how. I only recall a cold, violent jolt, as if crashing through an invisible pane of glass, and then the quiet of morning. I woke up in my car with the door open, my boots caked in black mud and a rotting twig crumbled in my clenched hand. The forest hadn't let me go. It had simply expelled me. I tried to find Duskwillow again. It's not on any map. Locals say it doesn't exist, or maybe it used to. Or maybe it's only there when it wants to be. But if you ever see a forest with no name, and a path that splits 3 ways, don't go in, because the trail doesn't lead through the forest. It leads somewhere else, and once you hear it whisper your name, you're already part of it.